everybody, welcome to the Hoopercast. Once again, we are in a situation where all my cameras are plugged in and they will not recognize my camera. So I'm using my phone once again, but we're going to prop it up this time so it's going to look all pretty. The listener does not care about this. So it's Black Friday, Thanksgiving week. Hope you've had some delicious meals. Hope you've had some good fellowship and time with loved ones. It's been a heck of a week for me. Of course, I'm recording this in October, so this will have been long solved by the time you listen. But God, I've had a week. I just got my car back last week with a new axle and a couple other things I had to get fixed on it. And that was a bunch of money. And then on Monday, the serpentine belt came off of its tensioner, and the car charging system essentially died, and my power steering went out. And so I had to get my daughter picked up and my kids all arranged for, and I was stranded for 3 hours. I was stranded for 2, and then it took another third hour to just get everything, get myself back home, and then get the thing to Pep Boys and get this warranty all settled. And it was crazy. So I spent 2 days driving my dad's truck, which is a Toyota Tacoma, which had bad air conditioning, but it had enough seats for me and the kids. And it got me from A to B. I was able to take them to school and run errands. And it was nuts. That's a fast car though. It goes deceptively fast. It's easy to forget that you're driving fast. And so then I got the car back, and now it's the next day, and my car is now at a windshield repair for damage that it incurred a while back. So getting that replaced today. It was nuts. I thought I had a tattoo appointment today too. So I was going to just walk over there because they're close by. But turns out I had the wrong date. And as I'm waiting for my Uber outside of the auto glass place, just a nice breeze. And 2 different people that day, like both the lady at the counter and the Uber guy, told me, and within the span of the same 30 minutes, that I'm glad you showed up, because this was exactly what I needed. And I've never been told that before. I mean, I've been told it like in saccharine ways by by relatives and stuff like that when they're just trying to tell you something nice. But it was weird because the lady at the counter was having a bad day, but because I seemed to sympathize, I guess that helped. And then the guy who picked me up lives 2 blocks from me. And he's like, "Oh, so I was glad to see you pop up because I have to run home and go grab something anyways. And looks like you live really close to me." And I was like, "Oh, fucking A," And he was like, "It's just lucky that you came across." And I was like, "Yeah." And it was weird because I don't know. At least I'm used to being the one who goes, "Oh shit, lucky that guy was there." But I don't tell people that because I don't know. It's just an awkward thing to be told. I think, at least after today, I think it's like, "Oh, cool. I didn't do it for you, but I'm glad you're benefiting from this. I came here to get my car fixed. But I'm glad you got something out of it." It was good. It was just a positive morning. And so I took the day off. And so I'm spending it doing laundry and hanging out with my cat and, editing podcasts and getting these all launched and scheduled for the hiatus. So, I can't complain. It's been a lot of, logistics and potential accidents that have happened over this car, but this alternator thing and the serpentine belt, that was free. They covered it. And, I go to the auto glass place and I talk to my insurance and they're like, "Hey, that's free too." And I was like, "Great." And so it's just, I don't know, it pays off sometimes just to be a stickler about, crossing your I's or dotting your I's and crossing your T's and making sure that, if you try to do stuff the right way, it's supposed to work out. And I know it doesn't feel that way right now for most people, including me. it's just nice to have a few days where things just kind of went the way they were supposed to. And that's just rare. So it's nice it could be. So it's Black Friday. So that's what I'm thankful for. I am thankful for the times where things go right. I'm thankful every time I drive my car, I get my kids to school, and I make it home without anything happening, without any dashboard indicators popping on or tires needing air or batteries dying. So I hope that you've had similar luck, and maybe you have and you haven't noticed it because you got other problems. And all we can think about when we have problems is our problems. And it's hard to do that cringeworthy thing that everyone talks about, but it's real is, have some gratitude for what isn't broken. And so I've got a lot to be thankful for. I think a lot of us do. I think we have a lot we need to work on. And I think we have a whole lot of wrong that's going on. But I think that none of us are without some right. Maybe is what I'll say. I don't know. I'm not trying to preach to you. This isn't a sermon. This is the Relay review. It's a review of a movie called Relay. That's really all I can say. So yes, please enjoy Relay.
Relay.
Is this a movie about running?
No.
Oh, great.
That's a terrible guess.
Is it about electricity?
No.
Okay. Well, those are the two most obvious relays I can think of.
That's true.
Why don't you tell me what it is about?
My name is Sarah Grant. I'm in possession of evidence of an unlawful cover-up.
There are a number of whistleblower support organizations.
No, I just want to give everything back.
There are official channels, but there are unofficial ones.
Who is he?
I help people who see things they shouldn't have. Who maybe should have looked the other way, but they can't.
I've never met him. That's kind of the point. It's a messaging service. They call you back.
This is the Tri-State Relay Service.
What is that?
It's a hearing-assisted device for the deaf.
The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 prohibits relay operators from disclosing the content of any relayed conversation.
The person who's called you will type their conversation and I'll read it to you. No calls are recorded and everything you say is confidential.
There's a van parked out front. I think they're watching me.
They may try to scare you. They may try to make a deal. This is the only deal. We are not bodyguards. We are intermediaries. We can help you return the documents whilst maintaining leverage to protect you.
Has it ever gone wrong?
Sometimes we have to walk away.
Are you lonely?
I recommend we keep communication to a minimum.
Do you have the packages?
Yes.
We got our guy.
They know who you are. You're in big danger. Why'd you do this for me?
That is my job.
Thank you for using the Tri-State Relay Service. Have a wonderful night.
Relay is in reference to the Tri-State Relay Service, which in New York is a service that someone who is deaf or hard of hearing can enact on the phone, where they can type and a representative on the phone of the relay service can make a phone call to somebody and read the written responses of the person who's deaf or hard of hearing to the recipient. The recipient then speaks back to the agent, and the agent types the responses to the person who's deaf or hard of hearing. So it's essentially a relay between someone who's deaf or hard of hearing and whoever they're intending to have a conversation with. Mm-hmm. It's this intermediary who, processes through text to one party and vocals to the other. But yeah, so Relay is a 2024 film. It was actually released in some festivals last year, and then now is receiving a wider release here in the late stages of summer 2025. The film stars Riz Ahmed, Lily James, and Sam Worthington. So in a rare non-Avatar appearance, Sam Worthington is in this film. And it's directed by David Mackenzie, who you may know from Hell or High Water, and written by a guy named Justin Piasecki, who I guess this is his first feature. This is the story of Lily James. She plays a young scientist who, as part of this research and development team she was leading, they found, it's all a little bit vague, and that's fine, but they found that whatever product it was they were working on had some adverse reactions, some effects on the local people who were in contact with it, caused cancer and a bunch of other things. And when she found that report, she took it to her bosses, and her bosses basically told her to keep quiet. She did not, and then they fired her, and they've been harassing her since. So she was able to smuggle out a copy of the report. And at this point, when the film begins, she's ready to give that report back, but she wants to do it safely and without reprisals. So, she is trying to find a lawyer who will help her, plead her case and get what she wants, which is just to be left alone. She's tired of being, harassed. So the lawyers won't touch it, but they recommend Riz Ahmed's character Ash, who is essentially his job is to intermediate between you and, he works for whistleblowers basically, and is an intermediary between the whistleblower and the organization they're blowing the whistle on. And so basically he ensures that both parties act fairly and get what they want. And then he takes a little off the top. And that's kind of how it works. As part of his abundance of caution and anonymity, he uses the relay service, the Tri-State Relay Service, to speak to his clients. So they never meet him, and they don't know his voice. They don't know anything about him. And the relay service is confidential. So even with a warrant, police cannot search, and they don't even keep records of anything or recordings. So there's really nothing to search. But even with a warrant, the police can't investigate or coerce an agent to, spill the beans on something they've heard on the phone. So even though that's the case, Riz Ahmed still keeps it really on the DL, and doesn't really speak in concrete descriptors. So nevertheless, he's contacted by Lily James's character, and he begins the process of mediating her case with the company that she's trying to give this report back to. And so, as you can imagine, things spiral from there, and it's kind of a thriller kind of a thing. So I saw this sight unseen. I had not seen a trailer. I didn't really know anything about the film. I knew that it was directed by David Mackenzie, and I love Hell or High Water, so I really wanted to give this a chance. I also really like Riz Ahmed, and I really like Lily James. And so I was like, that alone, those three people, I'm there. I don't really care what it's about. I'll see it when I see it. And ultimately, I think this is one you can wait for on streaming. It already feels like a streaming movie to me, which I know I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but kind of you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like it has the importance that it needs to be seen in theaters. And part of that is one of my biggest issues with the film is it feels very dull. like things are happening, but they're never happening in any sort of energetic way.
Mm-hmm.
And while that can be fine, in a thriller, you would expect that things get heightened and become thrilling. But unfortunately, the film itself stays kind of dull and monotonous. And it's a lot of like Sam Worthington, who represents the company, trying to figure out who Riz Ahmed is and find out, you know, what he can about what information Lily James knows and all these things. And it's just him like finding out a little piece of information, but then Riz Ahmed is like, you know, 2 steps ahead. And so it's like cat and mouse, but not really in an interesting way. It's just a little bit dull. And the performances are all really subdued. Like, these actors are all good. Like, you know, Sam Worthington, even though he's like kind of strictly doing Na'vi movies now, he's, you know, he can do good work, and Riz Ahmed and Lily James obviously are great. And so, I wanted something lively out of this, but instead, like, I think they were directed to keep it really plain and really natural, and also probably a little bit dull. Like I imagine on set, the note they probably got the most was dial it back, dial it back, dial it back, dial it back, until they probably just felt like they weren't giving anything. And the truth is, like, in a few scenes, it's fine. But by the midpoint of the film, I start going, I need these characters to pick it up a little bit. Like, they need to have more energy, because I don't have energy for the film.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing, because I'm not against a slow burn, but this doesn't feel like a slow burn. This feels like an appropriate burn, but the actors and everything, camera work, score, everything just feels really dull and flat. And it's a strange place to be as an audience member, because I'm not sure I can ever really get invested. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think it's fine. I don't think that it does anything new, unique, interesting. It doesn't even present itself in an interesting way. Like, what it does do, it doesn't present interestingly. And I think that someone with a lesser attention span than I have is really going to have struggled with this film. And again, not because things aren't happening, but because the characters seem so nonplussed by all of it. Like, you would expect at some point during this harassment to see Lily James like break down or get really nervous and paranoid. And it's like she's on the verge of it, but they never let her experience emotions in that way. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I've seen this compared to something like, you know, The Conversation, or, you know, those 70s thrillers, The French Connection, whatever, that people really love. And unfortunately, it doesn't have the cinematography to back up that comparison. It's just feels kind of plain. And then it also doesn't have the, like, that tangibility of New York. There's like no real texture here. It's just kind of like, okay, you're in a big city. It could be any city. It could be anywhere. I don't know. It's just lacking in a few things, like, you know, a reason to be in New York. It's lacking a reason for it to, you know, be as dull as it is. Like, again, things are happening, but I'm never interested, because it feels like the characters aren't interested. It feels like everyone's going through the motions on this. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. I don't know that they are. It just feels that way. And I've certainly never known Riz Ahmed or Lily James to go through the motions. So I don't think that's the case here. I think they're just being directed to dial things back to a point where it's just uninteresting to watch. Yeah, I don't know. David Mackenzie does fine, but there again, like, I think he's directing his actors to be too natural, and I think he's like the cinematography, the camera work, all of that needed a little extra pizzazz. If the actors were going to be as monotone as they were, then we need to do something somewhere to like spice it up. And yeah, there's nothing there. And again, for a thriller like this, you'd expect to see like some Hitchcockian kind of, you know, thrills, some pacing, some quick edits or whatever that build tension and build it visually. And I just didn't feel that here. So, so it's not a bad movie. It's just not a great movie. Down the middle of the road, I'll probably forget that I saw this in a few years. Like, I'll remember that I saw it, but I don't remember what it's about. So then I'll inevitably come back to this review and go, what was that movie about? And that's what it's about. So do I recommend that you see this in theaters? No. I recommend, if you're interested in this for any of, the actors or the director, just wait for it on streaming. And if you don't wait for it on streaming, you could either rent it for free at your local library when the time comes, or just don't see it. And I think all of those are fine. So yeah, it's a fine movie, but it just exists, and it comes and goes.
Well, and especially when you consider, like, it almost seems like this has the right ingredients to have been more exciting, but like to feel as if they were directed to be less exciting or less engaging. Yeah. It's like, that's clearly a choice, and it's clearly the wrong one.
Yeah. There's also a thing, like, I found myself, because I was a little bit detached, a little bit bored. I found myself sort of critiquing the film while I was watching it, like live tweeting a critique in my head.
Always a bad sign.
Always a bad sign. And so one of the things is, like, Riz Ahmed's character uses the relay service, and throughout the first half of the film, you never hear him speak. And so you don't actually know if he is hard of hearing. And that's why he's using the relay service, or if, he's just using it for anonymity, like truly just to stay anonymous. And so by the time, like, the halfway point or so of the film, hits, you hear him speak for the first time. That should be a really big moment. Like, he shouldn't be saying something superfluous. Yeah. And the first time we heard him speak, he's like at the counter at like a, post office or something. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like small talk kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's not what I would have done. Like, I definitely would have saved that moment until it meant something, and not just was mandatory to show that he's talking to a cashier. And especially because there was a moment like 10 minutes earlier where he goes and buys like some luggage, and the cashier says, "Hey, how you doing today?" And he just kind of like goes, like, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He just, as if like you could read it like he doesn't know what they said. He can't hear them, or he for whatever reason can't respond, or whatever the case may be. But there's some sort of something going on with him. And then when he just speaks later, like 10 minutes later, it's like, oh,
you're just a dick.
Yeah. What was the point of not talking for half of this movie?
I just pretend I'm hard of hearing so no one speaks to me.
Right. Then like 10 minutes after that, there's like another moment where he so throughout the film, I guess this is a minor spoiler, so sorry for spoiling a little bit of Relay here. He begins to catch some feelings for Lily James.
As we all do, man.
And so when he's
not special.
Right. You think that makes you special? And so when he does, he eventually calls her on the phone to speak to her, but he pretends to be the relay service just so he can speak. Like, he pretends to be the mediator. Uh-huh. And he's not. So he's like, he's actually verbally talking to her, but she doesn't know that. Yeah. And she thinks it's just another operator. And so that's the moment that you save the first time he speaks for.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 minutes later. So like, just save it. Yeah. So I don't understand why they didn't do that. There's moments like that throughout the film where I'm like, you should have just waited until that moment meant something. And it's like, oh, he's talking to her for the first time because like, he just can't help it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It means something now. And then from then on, he can talk, but like, don't just waste it earlier. And so there's a few things in the film that feel that way, where I'm like, I think you could have done that better. There's got to be a better take or a better reading, or there's got to be, a better way to show that. And you should have gone further here. Like there's a moment where she ends up talking to him. I think this is through the relay service, and it's a little flirtatious, but they don't really go all the way with it. Like she's flirting back with him, and you feel like she's getting in the bed. Like it's like late at night, she's getting in the bed and you feel like, okay, she's going to stay up late talking to him. And it's going to be like a stepping over the line of professional client relations into this flirtatious thing. And then the scene just kind of ends. And I'm like, I guess it's implied, but no, I think they do hang up. So I don't understand. Like, I'm like, no, you should have had that moment be different, right? Like, let it be what it's clearly trying to be and what Lily James is clearly trying to play. So the film's just a little bit frustrating for me, as a film nerd looking in, because I can see what the film should be. Yeah. And it's just frustrating that it's not. Yeah. There was just a lot of room for a great movie here, and it needed a little extra love and care. And it sucks that it didn't get it.
Yeah. I feel like a little bit of like self-imposed snobbery backlash when I have those thoughts. Like this could have been better, and I know exactly how, because then I picture like regular people saying that about a bunch of stuff that they don't fucking understand. Yeah. And I automatically go, oh, I'm just like those people. Maybe I don't get it. And I have to remind myself, like, this is like the one area that maybe you're allowed to say that. Like, one, it's art. Anyone's allowed to say it. But if you want to be listened to, knowing what the hell you're talking about, like I think we do, means something. Like when something happens in sports, I might have an opinion like, well, that's a stupid rule. But it's like, well, what do you know? Like, right. You haven't, you lack the context in the study. But with this you are studied. As you mentioned, art is subjective. So you can look at a painting and go, the green here doesn't work for me. Does nothing for me. Yeah. And somebody else can look at it and go, oh, I think it's really effective. And both are kind of valid, So yeah, but I agree with you. It is frustrating because you do feel like a little bit of a snob. Like maybe I should just like this movie because it's fine. Right. But at the end of the day, if you're detached from it, it's telling you something, and it could be me, right? Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm in a bad mood. Maybe whatever. It could be a million things, but maybe there's a world where you look at it and you go, could be that the film just isn't using the cinematic language effectively to achieve what it's trying to achieve. Well, and most of the time, like the reason we even like point out like what might be wrong with something, it's because it's right there. Like it would have been easy to do with the very same resources. It's not like, okay, well, that wasn't in our budget. We can't get, Arnold Schwarzenegger to be in this movie, or we can't do whatever. We don't have that much CG. It's like, just hold him talk, re-edit the film so he doesn't talk until that first time. You don't even have to reshoot anything. Just change it in the edit. Just think about it a little bit and go, oh, this should land with a lot more impact and make him look a lot less like a antisocial prick who only talks to people he wants to talk to. But we're going to waste that revelation on a normal person he has a banal exchange with instead of this girl he's crushing on. Yeah. So that's right. Maybe sweeten it with like a musical cue when he does speak. So where you're like, oh my God, he's speaking to her. He must like her. Oh, but this is wonderful. Like feelings.
Well, exactly. And like some people call that manipulative, right? Like I remember having a conversation at work with somebody and like, she's a filmmaker. So, her opinion's not nothing, but like she was saying that she cannot stand John Williams. And she's like, because he manipulates your emotions with his music. And I'm like, that's kind of the point.
That's what a score is.
I'm like, what else would a score do? Work against your emotions?
It's like goofy. It's like I could have saved more. It's the Seinfeld.
Yeah, right. That's right. I don't understand.
This car, 2 people, 3 people.
Right. This watch. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just I disagree vehemently. And like, there's a lot of people who also are like, well, I don't care about structure. Like, I don't care about the 3-act structure. I don't care about that. I'm like, that's the building blocks, man. Like, maybe I'm just old fashioned, but I'm just like,
do you remember in college when someone in our class was like, I don't really follow like structure and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, you need to first understand it so that if you're going to subvert it, you actually like make something interesting instead of just being like a confrontational douchebag about it.
Right,
like,
right. Yes.
Follow story structure. And like, oh, cool. All right. So are you just being difficult or do you have a unique take on story structure?
My response to that is
shut up.
Yeah. My response to that isn't, okay, well then learn the structure so that you can break it. Because I also don't know that means anything. Like the audience won't be able to pick up the fact that you knew something that you didn't do. So, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Instead, my response to that is, in America, in the West, we are programmed to consume our stories in a specific way.
Yeah.
When you break that rule, you also have to be aware that your audience may not receive this piece the way that you intend.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to read it with, they're going to read it expecting something that you're not giving them.
Yeah.
And they're going to expect it subconsciously. So if you're looking at it going, well, they should be feeling this, they should be feeling the emotion here. And the answer is, well, you've ignored the structure. You've ignored, how to get them to feel that. You can't then expect them to read that way. And so I look at it going, well, if the audience is going to expect a 3-act structure, and if the audience is going to subconsciously expect setup and payoff, then I better give them those things if I want them to react the way that I want them to react.
Yeah.
That's Relay, a movie that you probably didn't even know existed.